To review again, in this class we will see digital to analog converter of LPC2148 microcontroller. Digital to analog converter is a peripheral where if you supply digital data as input, the digital to analog converter would end up in generating analog output. Analog out. So you have one digital to analog converter present inside LPC2148. This is a very precious resource because in most microcontrollers they have analog to digital converter as on-chip component but not digital to analog converter. LPC2148 is a very special microcontroller which has on-chip DAC, which means you have the power to generate analog output without using any external chip. That is a very powerful option because it will enable you to generate any analog waveform on the go without using any external chip. So the important specifications of internal digital to analog converter is, this is the most important specification. It is having a 10-bit resolution. Ten-bit resolution means the binary number or the binary input that you supply to DAC ranges from 0 to 2 power of n minus of 1. So 0 to 2 power of n in this case is 10 minus of 1. So 0 to 2 power 10 is 1024 minus of 1 is 1023. So the digital input ranges from 0 to 1023. The analog output ranges from 0 to 3.3 volts. Okay, which means what? You can assume this digital to analog converter as a black box. This black box take a digital data as input, and this black box will convert the digital data into analog output. So as a designer, you should know for what value of digital input, what will be the value of the analog output that is generated. So you know the two extremes. For 1023, for when I apply a digital input of 1023, I end up in getting an analog voltage of 3.3 volt. This is one extreme. The other extreme is if I supply a digital input of 0, I end up in getting a analog output of 0 volt. So these are the two extremes that you can always remember. So once you know these two extremes, you can always calculate what is the intermediary analog value for any digital input. For example, what is the analog output for a digital input of say 650? So if the digital input is 650, if you want to calculate what is my analog output voltage, this is the equation. So for 1023, if I end up in getting an analog voltage of 3.3 volt, for a digital input of 650, what is my analog output? So what is the equation? It is 3.3 divided by 1023 multiplied by 650. So this will give me some x volts. So you can calculate the analog output voltage for any digital input for that matter. So this is the important specification that you have to keep in mind. Coming back to what are the pins involved in DAC? There is only one pin in digital to analog converter, that is pin number 9. So this fellow, pin number 9, you can call that as pin number 9, or you can call the same pin as port 0.25. Port 0, 25th pin is digital to analog converter. So what are these multiple functionalities of that particular pin? That particular pin performs the following function. Port 0.25 is the default function. Analog to digital converter channel 0, analog to digital converter 0, channel 4 is the first special function. Second special function is analog out, which is our DAC. So our DAC here is the second special function. So as usual, in using any peripheral device, the first job is to how to convert that particular pin, which is pin number 9 or port 0.25 into analog output or digital to analog converter pin. So we have to call our pin select. So how do I call pin select? What is the parameter I would pass? I would pass 25. 25 is port 0.25, so 25th pin. Then what is the special function? 0 is the default, 1 is first special function, 2 is the second special function. So I will pass 2. If I pass pin select 25, 2, 25th pin of port 0 or pin number 9 automatically is getting converted into digital to analog converter function. So this is the first thing that you do if you want to use pin number 9 for analog output. As I told you, this is the most simplest of all the peripheral. So that is why I am taking this at the final. So digital to analog control register is the only SFR used. So what is the name of the SFR? DAC control register. So digital to analog control register. For ADC, it is analog to digital converter control register. For DAC, it is digital to analog converter control register. DACR. This is for ADC. So how this digital to analog control register works? Only one thing that they are interested in. Bits. This is a 32-bit SFR, out of which bit 6 to 15 is the place where you have to write the data. So this is the data that you have to write. Where you have to exactly write the data, the value that you are supposed to write is from position 6 to 15. So this is a 32-bit register, out of which the exact location, you have to write a 10-bit data. The 10-bit data that you are supposed to write should start from bit number 6 to bit number 15. So this is the exact place where you have to put the data into, not somewhere on the LSB side or on the MSB side. It is strange that they have fixed this somewhere in the middle. Let us not question their wisdom. Let us see how to use it. That is what is more important for us. So what is the only function that I would write? I will use a function called analog write or DAC write, whatever you call it as. I pass a parameter DAC data. This DAC data ranges from 0 to 1023. The first job that I do is pin select. Convert port 0.25 or pin number 9 to second special function. That is the first thing that I do. Second thing I do is I supply the data to DAC control register. DA control register is equal to, I get the user data, which is DAC data. I left shift this by 6 times and I assign that. What will happen if I left shift this by 6 times? I'll end up in getting 6 zeros in front, followed by the user data, which is the DAC data. Then I assign this to DAC control register. I am not interested in performing any OR operation because I am not going to use any of the bits other than these bits. So the rest of the 5 bits and the top most bits are not used by us. So this is the only 10 bits that we are going to use in this case. So let us not worry about the rest of the bits. So simply I assign that instead of using an OR operation. Okay, so these are the only 2 statements that I would be using. Pin select 25, 2, which will configure the port 0.25 into second special function, which is the DAC. Second one, I assign DA control register with a 10-bit data by left shifting this by 6. Why left shifting by 6? Because the data that is to be written is available from bit 6 to bit 15. So this is the only 2. So this is the simplest function that you can find in LPC 2148. So let us take some sample problems. Generate a sawtooth wave using LPC 2148 at 50 Hertz. using 100 samples. So your sawtooth waveform will look like this. Okay, so this is my sawtooth waveform. This is one full cycle. Let us do for one full cycle so that it is getting repeated for rest of the cycles. So this time period t is equal to 1 by f, which is equal to 1 by 50 hertz. 1 by 50 hertz is 20 milliseconds. So this time period, whatever we are putting here, is 20 milliseconds. How many samples I am using here? 100 samples. So what is the sample time for one sample? For one sample, 20 millisecond or 20,000 microsecond divided by, I am using 100 samples. So it is 200 microseconds. So if I deliver one sample in 200 microseconds, I end up in generating a a full cycle in 20 milliseconds if I'm going to use 100 samples. So I'll end up in this entire total cycle is sliced or chopped into 100 samples. Each sample or the time interval between two successive samples is 200 microseconds. So 200 microseconds into 100 will give me 20 milliseconds. That will satisfy frequency of 50 hertz. So what is my logic? So I have to generate 100 samples of data and I have to deliver the data to DAC with a time delay of 200 microseconds. As simple as that. Okay. All of you are with me so far? Okay. So let us generate a small function. This is the ADC function that we did yesterday. I have assigned you a small task yesterday to complete it. I'm not sure whether you have completed it or not. So this is for DAC. So void. Let us change the language. C. Void analog write. Analog write. Unsigned integer. I'll expand the size. So analog write. So only two jobs. First one I call my pin select. Which pin of port 0 that we have to deal here? 25th pin of port 0. So it is 25, comma, second special function 2. So what is the command? Convert or configure port 0.25 as DAC pin. That is the first thing that I do. Second thing is unsigned integer DAC data. That is the user data, but the user passes. So DA control register is equal to, I take DAC data and I simply left shift this by 6 times and I assign that value to DACR. So that is the only thing that I want. The rest of the things will be taken care of by the DAC. Okay, so I call this, copy this fellow, Let's go to our kill. Let us create a separate header file for this. I paste here. I save this as data converters. So DATACON data converters .h. You can put the ADC also here. So all the data converters, including ADC and DAC, you can put it in the data converters.h header file. So let us go to the main function. So we have already the timer.h gpio.h. I'll also add data converter include data converter.h. So this is something. So what is my first problem? I have to generate a sawtooth waveform. So while one. So what is algorithm for generating a sawtooth waveform? You have to simply put a for loop. That's all. Depending upon the number of samples. For I equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus. Analog, which function we should call? Analog write. What is the value that I will pass? Let us say I will simply passing high. What is the value between each and every sample? What is the delay that we should pass for each and every sample? The delay that we should pass is 200 microseconds. So delay microsecond 200. Okay. So if you see, the digital data ranges from 1023 from 0 to 1023. But we are limiting ourselves only to 0 to 100. So if you are planning to write a value of simply I, which means you are using only 1/10 of the total bandwidth here. So what is the value that I should write here? So let us not worry about 1023. Let us worry about 1000. So 1000, if you divide this by 100 samples, you will end up in getting 10. So I simply multiplied I by 10. Okay, so I end up in getting an analog waveform from 0 to 1000. So that is good enough for me. I is not defined, so define what is I. Is this concept clear for you? I am putting a for loop. I will write it on the top. For I equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus. I am calling the analog write function. And I am passing a parameter of I into 10. I into 10. So if I is equal to 0, I pass 0. If I pass I equal to 1, I will end up in sending 10. So how did I ended up in figuring out this 10? This figure is calculated by what is the total number of samples that I have to use in this case? 100 samples. So what is the maximum span of DAC 0 to 1023? Okay, so if I'm going to divide 1023 by 100, I would end up in getting 10.23. So if I multiply each sample by 10.23, I can cover the entire spectrum of 0 to 1023. So which is what I am truncating to 10. So I can cover from 0 to 1000. So that's what I'm doing here. Rest of the 23 let us not use. So if I end up in getting, if I pass an analog value of 1000, I may get a small analog value little less than 3.3 volt. That's okay for me. That's what I'm doing. All of you are with me? Okay. So let us compile this fellow. So I go to my Proteus. So this is the one that we used for the previous class. Let me zoom. So port 0.25 is pin number 9. So this is this fellow. So I straight away connect that to an oscilloscope because this directly generates an analog output. Pin number 9 or port 0.25. So let us assign this X file. And run this. So increase the time scale. So this is my sawtooth waveform at 50 hertz. Okay. Now let us solve the second problem. Let us generate the standard waveforms. Generate the triangular waveform in the same 50 hertz, again using same 100 samples. So if I am going to generate a triangular waveform with 100 samples, then for 50 samples we go to the rising edge or the rising ramp. We use 50 samples for this, and rest of the 50 samples we go for the downward ramp. Okay, so we end up in generating two ramps. One is an upgoing ramp, the other one is a downgoing ramp. So the total time period is again 20 milliseconds because the frequency we have fixed at 50 hertz. So if total time period is 20 milliseconds, the upgoing ramp has to be for 10 milliseconds. This is another 10 milliseconds. So we need to put two for loops. For I is equal to 0, I less than 50, I plus plus. Okay, so analog right, analog right. In this case, I will pass I into, what is the multiplication factor here? So we are dividing this entire 1023, 0 to 1000, this is the digital value, 0 to 1023, into 50 samples. So for our convenience, let us truncate this to 1000. So if you divide 1000 digital data with 50, I end up in getting 20. So I into 20. Okay, so that is something that you have to understand. The time between each sample is still the same, which is 200 microseconds. So delay microsecond 200. This will complete the upgoing ramp. For downcoming ramp, you have to do the reverse. For I is equal to 0, again I less than 50, I plus plus, analog right, in this case it is 1000 minus of I into 20. Same delay. So this will generate the downgoing ramp. Okay, so let us check that one. So for I equal to 0, I less than 50, I plus plus, analog rate of 20 into 20. So this will generate my upgoing ramp for 50 cycles. For 50 cycles, we generate 1000 minus of I into 20. So this is delay 200 microseconds. Now let's compile this. So if I stop this and run, this would change into a triangular wave. See how beautifully it generates. Without using a single piece of hardware, you end up in generating clean. The biggest advantage of LPC2148 analog is it will give you such a clean analog waveform without any noise whatsoever. That's the biggest plus. Okay, so that is my second problem. Third problem is a square waveform, which is pretty straightforward. So for 3.3 volt, I have to just apply a value of 1023. For 0 volt, because a square waveform can have only two possible values. So one is 3.3 volt. For that, we have to supply a digital input of 1023. The other one is 0. For that, we have to supply a 0 volt, digital value of 0. So we have to give 1023 and we have to wait for 50 hertz. The total time period is t is equal to 20 milliseconds. So on period becomes 10. Off period becomes another 10. So I pass 1023. I wait for 10 millisecond. I pass 0. I again wait for another 10 milliseconds. So pretty straightforward thing. So there's no need for this for loops and all. So I'm passing 1023. This is for 3.3 volt. And I wait for millisecond delay of 10 millisecond on period. Then zero or 0 volt. And another 10 millisecond for off period. So you can very easily generate this by using any GPIO. So there is no need that you have to use a DAC for this. But this is just for the sake of completion I'm giving. So this is my square waveform at 50 hertz. Okay. So let us go back to the next problem. Problem 4. Generate a sine wave using 100 samples. So this is my total time period. T is equal to 100 samples. T is equal to 20 milliseconds. Again, the sampling interval, time for one sample is equal to 20 milliseconds divided by 100 samples, which is equal to 200 micro. So we have to slice the signal into 100 samples. And between each sample, we have to maintain a delay of 200 microseconds. So how do I, in sine, it is always better that we generate a lookup table and save it. So how do we generate the lookup table? What is the formula? Sine data is equal to 512 plus 511 multiplied by sine 2 into pi into I by n. N refers to the total number of samples. In this case, it is 100. I is the sample number. If you remember, for 8051, we would have done this with 128 plus 127. That is for a digital value of 0 to 255. That is for 8-bit resolution. What we are dealing here is a 10-bit resolution, so it is 512 plus 511. So let us take a small spreadsheet and do this calculation. Sorry. I don't know. Okay. Right. The first column is my sample number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm having to do it for 100 samples. Doing 100 samples in an online class is an ambitious thing because it will take some time, but then it will give you a clean output. So let us go back and apply the formula. This will equal to 512 plus 511 multiplied by sine of 2 into pi 3.14 into I. I is the sample number, all divided by n. N is the total number of samples. So that formula we will apply for all the things. So in case if you insert a chart, then probably you may end up in a output. So if you see the graph, I'll just minimize it. If you see the graph, it starts from 512, it goes to the top of 1023, and then bottom it ends at 0, and then it ends up at 512 again, which means we are shifting this sine wave by 512 of the digital input, so that it is scaled between 0 to 1023. So that is the rationale behind it. So this fellow, I am not interested in having any decimal numbers, so let us truncate all the decimal numbers here. So all the decimal numbers I eliminate, and I copy this in a notepad and I paste it. So unsigned integer signed data of 100 samples is equal to my open brace, comma, sorry, this is comma separated. No, it is still coming. This is where I put my closing brace and terminate this with a semicolon. So this is my lookup data, which I will put it into, maybe I'll put it inside this, okay, that's fine. This is a small lookup data that I have put inside my main program. The name of the array is sign data, which is having 100 samples. So what I do, I put a for loop there. Analog write off for I equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus. What is the analog value that I pass? I pass the value from array. Notice the sign data of I. What is the name of the array we gave? Sign data. Sign data of I. And the delay is 200 microseconds. So delay US 200. For each sample, we end up in getting. So what is the rationale here? I need to pass 100 samples. So if I end up in getting a delay of 200 microsecond per sample, I totally get 20 milliseconds for the entire cycle. So that is the rationale. So save this and compile this. So there is a problem somewhere. I missed a comma here. Go back to our code. Stop and run this. See how beautifully it generates. That is the biggest plus you have in LPC214. LPC214 will give you such a clean analog output that you would not even find it in commercial grade digital to analog converter ICs, which are meant for generating analog waveforms. So this is such a beautiful, asset that you have in LPC2148. It is not that you actually generate only a standard waveform. You can generate any non-standard waveforms as per your requirement. So all you have to do is you have to generate a digital sample depending upon your requirement. Say for example, I wanted to corrupt this sign data. I just make a copy of this. I just wanted to generate some random number. So I put 60, I put 70, and I put 12, and I put 6, and I put 903, I put 24, I put 14, I put 12. So whatever the data that you are supplying for the DAC, it will generate. So if you are planning to generate an ECG waveform, say for example, you need to generate a digital pattern for the ECG waveform. And then if you supply that digital data to the DAC, it will generate you that particular value. So that is what it is. So you can actually play with the DAC as per your requirement. I'm just corrupting the data, sign data with some random numbers. Let us see what is going to be the result. See, still it is giving you a pattern as if it is looking like a sine wave, because the majority of the data is having the pattern of sine wave. But what I'm trying to tell you, if you generate a data depending upon your requirement. So you just make some attempt and generate some random waveforms, sawtooth waveforms, or a staircase waveform, or a trapezoidal waveform. All these waveforms you just make an attempt, and then make sure that you are complying with the frequency requirements with a specific number of samples, and then solve this. But the problem or the technique is one and the same. I asked you to design an ADC function in the last class. General purpose ADC function. What is the name of the ADC function that we did in the last class? Get ADC data, or I can just give it as analog read so that it becomes synonymous with analog read channel number. Sorry. So first you have to distinguish this channel number. I am not sure whether you have completed this or not, but then I'll do it for you. So if channel number is less than 10, the channel number is less than 10, what it means? It means the user is trying to deal ADC 0. Else the user is trying to deal ADC 1. So that is how I distinguish channel numbers here. If you remember, ADC 0 has channel numbers from ADC 0 has 6 channels and ADC 1 has 8 channels. This fellow has 8 channels. So depending upon the data that you get here, you have to accordingly deal the pin select first. So in the last class we used a common pin select. In this case we have to use a different pin select. So if channel number is equal to, so what are the available channel numbers here? For ADC 0, for ADC 0, channel 0 is not present. So the user can either send a channel 1, channel number 2, or channel number 3, channel number 4, channel number 5 is again not present, 6 and 7. Channel 0 and channel 5 are not present in ADC 0. So what we have to see for each channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 7, what is the corresponding port 0 pin, and what is the the special function for it. That is what we have to see. So for channel 1, let us see. If channel number is equal to 1, I have to call the pin select function. Which pin of port 0 is dealing channel 1? ADC 0 channel 1? Port 0 28. So I call 28. This is something tricky. Which exact special function that we have to deal with? For that you should know the pin details of the IC. I take a copy of the IC. And I put it here. So that would give me some rough idea. Okay. Now what is my first ADC channel? ADC 0.1 is pin 13. Pin 13 is here. So what is the special function? 0, 1, first special function. So I have to pass a value of 1. So we have to do the same thing for the rest of the channels. For channel number equal to 2, for channel number equal to 2, which pin we have to deal? Port 0.29. Port 0.29 is 14th pin. 14th pin, it is again the first special function. So I pass number 1. For channel number 3, channel number 3 is which pin? 15th pin. 15th pin is port 0.30. Again, first special function. 30, first special function. Like this, we have to do the rest of the things. For 4, 5 is not there. 5, sorry, 6, and for channel 7. If the user is trying to write anything else, that means he is trying to fool the function. This is a dummy statement. Yeah, that's a do nothing statement. Now for channel 3 we wrote, for channel 4, which pin number we have to deal with? ADC channel 4 is port 0.25, pin number 9. Pin number 9 is this, again the first special function, port 0.25. Channel number 6 is 27th pin. 27th pin is somewhere here, and 27th is here. Interestingly, if you see, ADC's channel 6 is the third special function, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Port 0.4. Port 0.4, third special function. And last but not the least, ADC channel 7 is pin 29. 29 is here. Again, it is the third special function. That is port 0.5. We have to write port 0 here, not the pin number. Make a note of that. Third special function. So once you do this, once you assign the thing, then we have to use this functionality for dealing ADC 0. So I just cut this, paste it here. So I put ADC 0 control register. This is 0. So all once we have to change it to zeros. That is why I use shorthand notation. This is AD0 global data register. Read my data from AD0 and return my data. Declare what is my data at the top. Unsigned integer my data. This completes my channel 0. So likewise, you complete this for channel 1. Okay, we have declared this at the top, so there is no need for this. So likewise, you declare all these, ADC channels for channel 1, for ADC 1, for all the 8 channels. Accordingly, see the pin number and port number of ADC 1 and deal the pin select accordingly, and do the changes for AD1 control register in this case. So once you do that, it becomes a complete function. So in that case, we can make use of it for doing real-time applications.